I'm Jack Patty, and this is the Senior Minute, successfully serving seniors.
Welcome to another episode of the Senior Minute. I am Jamie Gitzinger. I'm a healthcare administrator, and I'm interviewing today the LexTran Director of Planning and Community Development, Emily Elliott. So Emily, thanks for being here, and thanks for answering our questions today. So our topic for today is transportation, as you might gather. Why is transportation important? From a healthcare administrator standpoint, transportation is important because we need our patients to arrive at their appointments. When people think about clinical outcomes and best outcomes for people, really the clinical aspect of care is only about 20% of the disparities that we see. 50% of the disparities we see with our patients has to do with the social determinants of health. And transportation is one of the top 6 things that we have to contend with on a daily basis. So Emily, I'm going to ask you some questions that hopefully our senior population here in Lexington can gather some information and be able to navigate that process better. All right, so the first question is really, how do you go about finding transportation in Lexington?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. There are multiple options in Fayette County for transportation. So whether it's for a specific population of seniors or people with disabilities, but there are a lot of options available. My specific focus is on the LexTran city buses with the routes and stops that you see all over, as well as the door-to-door paratransit service called Wheels. If someone is looking to be connected to multiple kinds of transportation or looking to see what varied options, United Way 211 is a really great resource for them. So they can call, and they will not be dispatching a vehicle to anyone, but they will be able to help them understand their best options and what network might work best for them. Okay.
And then availability. Can you talk about the availability for transportation?
So specifically focusing on Wheels Paratransit and LexTran service, they both run from just before 5:30 in the morning until 12:30 midnight, Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 12:30 on Saturday, and then 5:30 to 9:30 on Sundays.
Okay. And then eligibility. So as far as age, disability, income requirements, those sort of things.
The great thing about the fixed route buses, or the buses that run throughout the city, is it's open to everyone. It's public transportation, so it means any and all can get on. And those vehicles are accessible for people with disabilities. As far as Wheels is concerned, there is a qualification process, and it is for someone who is not able to ride the city buses for whatever reason based on the nature of their disability. So it could be physical, it could be cognitive, and in the process of the application, they will have a functional abilities assessment done through a company called Biokinetics, and that allows Wheels to better understand what type of disability they might have and if they can or cannot use the service.
Okay. And then as far as scheduling, I know that can be a network of confusion at times. So do you book ahead? Is it on demand? Is there some type of an app that we would use for transportation scheduling?
Yeah, so scheduling Wheels, most people call. And when you call, they ask for specific information. They do have to be done 24 hours in advance or up until 4:45 the day before your trip. So you would call them, let them know your name, confirm your phone number, and then provide the origin of your trip and the destination of your trip, those addresses, as well as what time you would like to either be picked up or what time you would like to arrive. So for instance, you're talking about medical care. That's a really important one, to know that you need to be somewhere by 11 o'clock or you need to be somewhere by 2 p.m. Or for instance, if you're getting off work, you could not be picked up before your shift is over. The other thing that they need to know when someone schedules an appointment is if they use a mobility device and which type, and if they have a personal care attendant who would be riding with them to schedule that trip.
Okay. Can you talk about the importance of a personal care attendant?
Yeah, so personal care attendants are a really wonderful thing for transportation. Some people have different disabilities that affect them in different ways, whether that would be for someone who was riding the city bus or riding the paratransit bus that may need a little bit more assistance either during the transportation event or at the destination. And so personal care attendants always ride free with passengers. For Wheels, they do need to be alerted when the reservation for that trip is made. For LexTran, just hop on with your person, hop off with them. We do expect them to ride with them the whole time and no deviations involved or other locations, that sort of thing. But personal care attendants can really be, for people, the difference between multiple grocery trips a week or a single grocery trip. They can be the difference between going to the movies and having some independence and some really fun items on their list and having to just, be exhausted with the things that are required for them to do.
Okay. And so the service area and trip types, I think you covered trip types. So
yeah, so LexTran is just in Fayette County, so is Wheels Paratransit, but Paratransit is countywide. So you can go anywhere in Fayette County. If you have an address in Lexington, in Fayette County, you can make a trip. The difference is a complimentary trip, which is going to be within 3/4 of a mile of a city bus route or stop, versus a premium trip, which is outside of that. And the real difference between that is the fee that is incurred to the passenger and any passengers who ride along with them, aside from PCAs.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the cost and the payment?
Yeah. So Wheels is $1.60 each way, and premium trips are $2 each way. Passengers can pay in cash on the vehicle, or they can call ahead and get Wheels passes, which a lot of people prefer to do. So it is not a pay ahead service. There's no credit card needed to ride or anything like that. You are currently not available to pay in the app that is provided with Wheels, but those trips you can pay in real time when you board the bus.
Okay. And then talk to me a little bit about, like, with assistive devices, kind of how could I expect that to be handled if I was in a wheelchair or needed assistance with ambulation, things like that?
Yeah, so if you use a wheelchair on the LexTran buses, there's a ramp at the front door, which is where you would board anyway. Same thing with a cane, a walker, anything like that, including if someone potentially has had a stroke and just needs assistance stepping up. They can request the ramp because many people have invisible disabilities and may not look like they need the ramp. The same thing goes for Wheels vehicles. They just have lifts that are in a different location, or ramps that may be in a different location on the vehicle. So any assistive device can be accommodated. Sometimes they would need to be folded or secured a little bit differently, depending on the type of device, but any device can be accommodated. For Wheels trips specifically, if someone maybe uses a walker but not all the time, it is important when they make their reservation to give the reservationist the heads up that they're going to be using a walker that day.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for covering all these topics. Very important information, and I'm sure individuals are going to take advantage now that didn't know before. So thanks again for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right.